Hey, what goes on everybody? My name is Ethan and welcome back to another Minecraft mod review. Today we're doing the Cyan Warrior Swords. We've got a bunch of really cool weapons for us to check out here, guys. Hopefully, we won't destroy too much of the wonderful land behind me here, and I hope you all enjoy. Alrighty guys, so starting off our mod, we have these elemental sword handles. These are pretty much everything that you're going to need right from the start. You press, there's the R, so you can see that it's with 2 blaze powder, a diamond, and a blaze rod. So you will have to be well into the game, you know, well into your normal survival experience before you can start actually doing anything with the mod. But trust me, it's definitely worth that little bit of a wait. It's not too difficult to find yourself some blaze rods once you're into the nether. Alrighty guys, so once you've made those handles, you can start moving on to making some of the Cyan Warrior's elemental swords. So we're going to start off by showing you the 3 earth swords. The stage 1 or tier 1 earth sword is made with just the elemental sword handle, 2 iron and 4 bits of dirt. So let's get that down in our inventory, then you can move on. If you'd like to upgrade it to the peaceful nature sword, all you've got to do is have your earth sword, 3 saplings and a piece of sugarcane, easy enough. And then finally the 3rd and most powerful form is the wild nature sword, which is made with the peaceful nature sword, some sugarcane and then 3 cactus. Alright, so let's go out over here. I got myself some iron golem spawn eggs so that we can do this the good way. Let's get rid of a little bit of this grass here. That's not very fast to break grass with, just my hand. Alright, plop you down. Hello, iron golem. So let's hit this guy once for 9 damage. Nice. It's actually 8, but we're hitting 9s. That's pretty cool stuff. Alright, and then now if we right click with the sword. Wait, how do I click him? There we go. Pow! Got some dirt defense systems. Pow! Check that out. You got a chance to block them in, which is pretty neat. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Alright, let's get him down here. And now he's a little bit dangerous. Let's trap him in. No. Yeah, he's been trapped. I don't know if an iron golem can actually walk out of there. No, he cannot. That's awesome. If you're ever fighting iron golems, get yourself an earth sword. So next is the peaceful nature sword, which will do slightly more damage by hitting a 10 and by giving them... What is that? Giving you resistance, and it looks like you're giving them nausea. Is that what that is? Not 100% sure. Alrighty, so it is nausea. Whenever you hit them, they get nausea. And if... Oh, let's go to this so we can see our status effects. We right-click them. We get some wood. Look, the wood's actually spawned on him. I'm using it like a weapon. We get some wood spawning there, and we also get resistance for a minute, which is a little bit powerful. That's a little bit tough. So let's break some of these out of the way so we can use our wild nature sword, which is the final and 3rd form. We get a hit here. He's got poison. We've still got our resistance. Let's just quickly nom 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 nom. Alright, and then let's go and try out this right click. And we get some cactuses for him to run into. And we also get resistance for 2 minutes, which is really good. Look at that poison. Man, poison does some damage. And we can just quickly drop that iron golem like it's nobody's business. So that's the earth sword, guys. Alrighty, moving on now. We have our water sword, ice sword, and blizzard sword. Your water sword is made with a stick. Whoa, that shouldn't... that's not very good, is it? Stick. It should have a handle there. 2 water buckets and 2 pieces of glass. And then to make your ice sword, all you need is your water sword and some snowballs. And then, of course, for your blizzard sword, you need your ice sword and, of course, 3 gas tiers, 4 gas tiers, and 4 ice. So let's get our ice sword, get the water sword, and get the blizzard sword. And we're going to head on down and have a little bit of a play with this without causing too much of a mess, hopefully. So with the water sword, first of all, we have our standard damage. Standard damage, 9 hearts. Oh. And then if you right click, you can actually spawn water around you, which isn't all that useful. I suppose if it spawns directly in the middle here, I'm safe. They're not. They're going to get pushed away from me. I guess that's kind of defensive, which is pretty neat. Let's move on to the ice sword. This is a little bit neater. When we hit them, they actually get slowness for 30 seconds. We also have water breathing because we right clicked with the first weapon, so we better just drink again so we can right click with this one and see the effects. So he's still got his slowness, and then let's right click him and get some ice up in here. Also with one of these bad boys, a snow golem, which is really, really cool. And now finally we have the blizzard sword, which, let's break this ice if we can. Broke the ice. Blizzard sword, let's hit. That's 13 damage. You get slowness for a minute. And if we right click with the blizzard sword, it's gonna freeze again. We right click below us. That's really cool. Freezing everything up, and no status effects come with this sword. Oh, I'm unable to click it here for whatever reason. Righty guys, we're now moving on to our wind sword, wind blast sword, and wind whirl sword. So the wind sword is just made with the elemental sword hilt, 2 iron ingots, and 4 feathers. And then to upgrade to our wind blast sword, you will simply need your wind sword, 3 gunpowder, 2 blaze rods, and 3 feathers. And then finally the wind whirl sword, which is a wind blast sword, 4 gas tier, and 4 feathers. Getting a little bit more expensive, these upgrades, but at the same time they're also getting a little bit cooler. Let's drop down an iron golem here. Let's hit him once. See that knock away? You see him get knocked back like that? That's what the wind sword does. Gone! See you later, sucker! And then again with the wind sword we can right click and get ourselves a little bit of a jump boost, which is pretty cool, right? Jump boost and a speed boost. So pop, 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 pop. Whoa, not my best idea. Let's go back down, please. Hello. Maybe not do that in survival mode. Pop, pop, pop. We come with an aerial assault. No, I wasn't even close. Oh no, I got him. Nice. Check that out. That is the wind sword. Now let's move on to the wind blast sword, which is going to do something very similar. Pop. Knocks him back even further. Also renewing your speed and jump boost when we right click here. Watch as we go. Boom! Get an explosion, get renewal, and a short resistance to resist the wind explosion. Bang! Yeah! Oh, I'm stuck. Alright, that's really cool, huh? And then let's just knock back. Alright, and then let's move on finally to the wind whirl sword, which is an even bigger knockback, although this is going to kill him. Alright, let's pop another one down here. Which is, we'll get a drink of milk. Go here. Even bigger knockback, as you guys can see. And then when we right click, we're going to hup, push him away. Bup. How neat is that? I think if I actually click bup. Yeah, it's just going to push him back. Oh, let's get all 3. Bup, bup, bup. Alright. That's pretty neat. So you can both click and right click and knock him away, which is really, really cool. It also renews your speed and jump boost. So that's it for the wind swords. Alrighty guys, moving on now to the fire and meteor sword. There are only 2 versions of the fire sword, although there are some things that go on later on over here, which we're going to talk about later on. So to make our fire sword, we need the elemental sword handle, 2 iron ingots, and 4 blaze rods. And then to upgrade that to a meteor sword, you need your fire sword, 4 blaze powder, a blaze rod, and a fire charge. So let's get the fire sword and the meteor sword. Obviously, these are going to be cool because what isn't cool when it involves fire? I'm going to go over here where there's plenty of room and water. So let's hit this guy once, bang, and obviously he's going to get lit on fire. I'm going to quickly drink this, get rid of our current effects, and then if we right click, bang! Everything's on fire, and I got fire resistance for a minute, bang! Although, it's not the best at targeting. Yeah, I think you're better off just hitting him with the sword, to be entirely honest with you. Alright, let's drink this milk, and we'll move on to our meteor sword. Did I get that? Yep, I did. Alright, the meteor sword is very, very similar. Just bang, whoop, a little bit higher damage. Still lighting him on fire. Let's go bang, a little bit higher damage. Still lighting him on fire, but when we right click, pow, pow. You're actually shooting a gassed fireball, which does okay damage. Not really. But you can hold it down and just go to town on your enemies with it if you so desire. Wow, that's a bit loud, isn't it? So that's the meteor sword and the fire sword, guys. They're pretty neat, pretty easy to make. Definitely worth it, in my opinion. Next up, we have our Thunder Sword and our Thunder Shock Sword, which is really, really cool stuff. They're found over here as well, Thunder Sword. And then we have another sword over here, which is the Ender Thunder Sword and the Thunderstorm Sword, but I'm going to show you guys that later on. So the Thunder Sword is just an elemental sword handle, 2 iron ingots, and 4 redstone. And then if we want to upgrade to a Thunder Shock Sword, all you got to do is get that thunder sword and surround it in redstone. The thunder swords are quite cheap. This is a pretty good recipe. Once you've got the handles, these are rather cheap, which possibly makes them one of the easier access swords, similar to the water swords. They're pretty easy access as well. So let's pop down an iron golem and let's hit him with a thunder sword. Pow! So it's 10 damage, no status effects for us. But if we right click, lightning! And we get fire resistance for a short amount of time just so you like don't get killed by the lightning, and you get speed for a minute, which is really, really cool. Let's quickly kill this guy off. Lightning! And there we go. That iron golem is down. Let's put this one down here. Let's drink a little bit of milk. And let's move on to our thunder shock sword, which we hit. It's 12 damage, no status effects for either people. Then if we right click, it's an even bigger thunder explosion with resistance and roughly a minute and a half of speed. Look at that, it's more than one lightning strike at a time there. Pow, 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 pow. That is awesome. Alright guys, that is it for the thunder swords. Let's move on. Up next is the Ender Sword, and then the Ender Portal Sword. So the Ender Sword is made with the Elemental Sword handle, 2 iron ingots, and 4 Ender Pearls. Not too expensive. And then your Ender Portal Sword is actually made with an Ender Sword, 4 Blaze Rods, and 4 Eye of Ender. Now, if you have these swords before you go to the end, pretty handy stuff. So let's just pop down one of these guys, hit him with the Ender Sword. 10 damage, no status effects for either side. But if I right click, pop goes the Ender Pearl. Pop. Awesome, huh? How cool is that? That's some pretty cool stuff. You can get around with this sword nice and easily. Let's move on to the Ender Portal Sword, where if we hit him, it does the damage and also teleports them into the air so that they can take fall damage. Although iron golems don't appear to actually take fall damage. But it's cool nonetheless. Let's just quickly murder this guy here with the normal Ender Sword. And now with the Ender Portal Sword, you can actually right click and off goes your Eye of Ender, which will point towards your portal, because it's an Ender Portal Sword. Which is actually really, really cool if you haven't found the stronghold yet. And not to mention that this Ender Sword would be really handy traveling around the end when, you know, you spawn on that little obsidian platform before you fight the dragon. Be pretty good stuff. Righty guys, our final sword, our final 2 swords before we move on to these combined swords is the Beast Sword and the Wolf Sword. So the Beast Sword is simply made with the Elemental Sword handle, 2 iron ingots, and 4 bones. That's really, honestly, it's really cheap for a weapon that does 10 attack damage. Then the Wolf Sword is the Beast Sword with 4 blaze powder and 4 bones. Again, pretty cheap if you've been to the Nether. So we have our Beast Sword, which does some pretty cool stuff. I will show you exactly what it does. Let's pop down an Ender Golem. Let's hit him once. You know, 11 damage, no status effects. But if we right click, we get ourselves a wolf who just got murdered. You meanie iron golem. Murdered him so fast. And yeah, the sword's a little bit buggy. There you go. The sword often spawns the wolves underground, which sort of kills them. I was actually able to do it here on the stairs before, and yeah, it worked out nice and good on the stairs. So let's just kill that guy real quickly. For some reason, they spawn with 8 hearts instead of 20. Now, moving on to the Wolf Sword. I'm assuming you guys can pretty much guess what the Wolf Sword is going to do. When we hit, we get 12 damage and speed 2 for a couple of seconds, by the looks of that. Nope, I simply had speed 2 from the other one. So it's 12 damage, and then we get on the stairs here again so we can do this. And we right click, and you actually summon yourself a little pack of wolves. 8, 8. They all spawn with low HP. You actually get 3 wolves per spawning. Oh, 4. There we go. 4 wolves. 4 wolves per spawning. And if we go over here and we start a fight with this iron golem, hopefully our wolves are going to help us out. So we actually got speed and invisibility for roughly... Let's just have a quick look here. Right click. 45 seconds of speed and invisibility, and you get a little wolf pack that will help you murder everything. That can be really, really handy when it comes to farming everything else. Alrighty guys, now we are moving on to combining these swords together. So I'm going to show you the first 3 Ender Swords first. Then I'm going to show you the Thunderstorm Sword, along with the Meteor Sword and the Meteoric Thunderstorm Sword. And then finally, I will show you the Steam Sword. So guys, let's get the Ender Fire, the Ender Wind, and the Ender Thunder Sword. To make the Ender Fire Sword, we need a stick, 2 iron ingots, an Ender Sword, and a Fire Sword. Alright, so let's go check this blade out. It's pretty straightforward what it does. I gotta get away from the wood because it's a fire weapon. So let's go over here. Let's drop this bad boy down. Now, if we hit with the end of fire sword, it's obviously going to light them on fire. No status effects for me, though. And if we right-click, it's going to end a pearl and also light a fire, which is going to give me fire resistance for a minute. So if we do that, we can pearl forward and leave a fire behind us. So let's stand here next to the iron golem and just go, hey! And he's lit on fire. He was actually lit on. I pushed him into the fire before we even started. But yeah, you can see as he's in the fire there, it's kicking his butt, which is really, really cool. So next is the Ender Wind Sword, which is your Ender Sword, a Wind Sword, 2 iron ingots, and a stick. So the Ender Wind Sword is... Let's just get a hit here. It's got that knockback that we remember from the Wind Sword. Let's quickly just... Om nom 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 nom. Alright, we'll head back over to this guy. And now if we right-click with the Ender Wind Sword, we're just going to get a knockback. Oh no, that's the Ender Pearl. Okay, I was hitting him with an Ender Pearl. Apparently they don't like that. Ender Pearls hit them. So we got the knockback and the Ender Pearl, which gives us a speed and jump boost, which means we could probably... No, you can't do the jump because of the Ender Pearl, so keep that in mind. Alright, and then finally is the Ender Thunder Sword, which is the Ender Sword, the Thunder Sword, 2 iron ingots, and a stick. I'm sure you guys are guessing what this one does. Tap, 11 damage. Drink this before we do our right click. Let's go the Ender Thunder Sword, which is going to let us teleport and also strike lightning where we were. Pop. As you guys can see, oh god. Okay, don't teleport with fire anywhere near there. It also gives us speed for a minute. Alrighty guys, moving on, we have the Thunderstorm Sword, the Meteoric Thunderstorm Sword, and of course the Steam Sword. I don't know why, but I had a Meteor Sword over here as well, which is actually not correct. Let's quickly make it daytime for you guys so it's easier to see. And let's check out the first sword here. We'll get our golem. Now, to make the Thunderstorm Sword, all you need is a Wind Sword, a Thunder Sword, the 2 iron ingots, and of course a stick. So if we hit this bad boy, gonna get that nice knockback, like we always do. And then if we right click, pow! Gonna get lightning, and we're gonna get a boost forward, which is pretty neat. This one actually probably works the best with the lightning because it strikes where you were standing and boosts you away from it, which is actually a really destructive way to travel. And you can just run up and swooping through the monsters and get a nice little damage hit there. You also get a speed, jump, and small regeneration and fire resistance to deal with the lightning. So next we have our Meteoric Thunderstorm Sword. Let's go R, and we need a Meteor Sword and a Thunderstorm Sword, 2 iron ingots, and a stick. So let's go forward over here. Where'd that guy go? Alright, so we hit him. He's going to light on fire. Actually, let's do this. Because he's going to light on fire, he's also going to get a knockback, which is awesome. Because then the mob can't get to you and it'll burn to death. And if we right click, we're going to boost forward, hit it with lightning. I think we also shot a fireball at it. We did too. So we shoot a meteor, we boost forward, and we strike it with lightning. That is a little bit wild. A little bit OP, if you ask me. Now, let's go to our Steam Sword, which is the Water Sword, Fire Sword, 2 iron ingots, and a stick. This one's a little bit odd, this Steam Sword, I believe, unless it's been changed since the update. But we hit it once, it's going to get fire on it from the fire, and then if we right-click, it's actually just going to shoot him up in the air. But, oh, that's awesome. All right, let's get a mob that actually takes full damage here. Where they at? Where they at? Where all them mobs at? Skellington, and then... Well, let's just put him down even though he'll be on fire. Hello. Oh, you're not on fire. We boost you right up in the air and then bang! Full damage! I wonder how high we can take this guy. Oh! Full damage! That is awesome. There's a good way to use the Steam Sword if you like to spam your right click. Righty guys, moving on nice and quickly, we now have the Tri-Ender Sword, which is just an Ender Pearl with the Ender Wind, Ender Fire, and Ender Thunder Sword. So, let's grab the Tri-Ender Blade. I'm assuming this is going to be rather devastating. It looks pretty cool in your hand. Let's drop down an Iron Golem. If we hit this thing, it's going to get fire and knockback, obviously because of the fire and wind. And then if we right-click, I'm assuming absolute devastation. Whoa, so we got speed, jump boost, fire resistance, and we hit with lightning, and we got Ender Pearl forward, which is pretty neat. Oh, we light a fire, we strike with lightning, and we get Ender Pearled out of there, which is really, really awesome. Alrighty guys, so that's all the basic swords of the mod pretty much done. There are some special swords here as well, which I've put into their own chest just because they seem to have their own... They're just different. They feel like they should be the god versions of the swords, even though they're not actually that powerful. They just have kind of useful effects. So the first two swords are the light sword and the dark sword, and you can see why these have been set apart, because light and dark is meant to be the greater elements sort of thing, you know what I mean? In all that, like, mystical stuff. But anyway, to make ourselves a light sword, you're going to need an elemental sword, 2 iron ingots, and 4 glowstone. Not actually that expensive. And then finally, the dark sword, you need an elemental sword, 2 iron ingots, and 4 obsidian. Again, not all that expensive. Let's go check out what these swords do. Let's pop up here, make ourselves an iron golem. Let's give him a hit with the light sword. 9 damage. He's been given weakness and blindness. And now we got to go into like that. If we right click, we just get night vision. Just night vision, just, you know, whatever. Just have yourself some night vision. It's got a good effect if you hit things, but if you right click, it's not all that great. Alright, now our dark sword. Now when we hit with this, they get the wither effect and blindness, which is way better than a light sword. And if we right click, we become invisible, we get blindness, and we get night vision, which makes us completely blind. Don't know why you would want to do that to yourself. Just like the light sword. Not overly useful when right-clicking, but nice if you are hitting things. Now, if you wish to upgrade both your light and dark sword, there are 2 recipes for it. We have the light nether sword, which is the light sword, 3 glowstone, and a golden apple. And then obviously we have the dark nether sword, which is expensive because it's 3 obsidian, a dark sword, and then a wither skeleton skull, which, you know, if you're unlucky, that can take forever. I'll show you this one too, which is the time sword, which is actually just the light sword, dark sword, 2 iron ingots, and a stick. So let's grab all of these into our inventory over here. The light nether sword is going to hit for 11 damage, give weakness and blindness for a minute. When we right click, we're going to get night vision, 30 seconds of absorption, and regeneration. So let's go into game mode 0 so we can see that is, look at all those hearts. It's a whole nother row of absorption, which is pretty snazzy. Alright, now let's get this bad boy here, and obviously the dark nether sword. We're going to go back into game mode 1 so we don't get murdered. We hit him, and he's going to get wither and blindness for 30 seconds. That's a little bit wild. We right click, and oh god, that was sort of difficult to see. We actually shoot a wither skull, and it gives us blindness for like a second. The wither skull itself is really, really cool. I love being able to attack with a wither skull. Even making the wither sound when it does it, that is really, really cool. Definitely one of my favorite swords so far. And then finally we have the time sword. You can probably guess what the time sword does. But we hit, and it's going to give wither, weakness, and blindness. That's pretty good. Like, it's a pretty cool looking sword in your hand too. And then if we right click, nighttime. We also get given night vision. So daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime. That's awesome. So the time sword can be pretty handy, I guess, if you don't ever want mobs to appear, but then you wouldn't need a sword. Righty guys, to finish off the mod, there's one more blade that can be made, which is the Cyan Sword, which has 23 attack. It doesn't have any special abilities. It has 500 durability and 23 attack. So it's like a beast mode diamond sword, but it's made in a very special way. Something that I didn't have to touch on in the mod because it's not really used. It's sort of an alternative way to create the sword. So basically, to make the Cyan Warrior Sword, you need an elemental sword handle, 2 iron ingots, and these mixed sword essence. You need 4 of them. A mixed sword essence is actually made from all of the sword essences together, and it makes 4, so you only need to smelt down 1. But to get say your ender sword essence, you actually need to cook an ender sword, and it will give you an ender sword essence. Or if you cook the second tier one, you'll actually get 2. And these essences can be used in a very different way. If you don't want to collect, well, if you've got the essence, say you've got the essence and you want your sword back, you can just put it on an iron sword and you'll get your sword back. So it's revertible. So let's just get this Cyan Warrior Sword here, and we'll finish off some golems, and that will be the end of the mod review. So that's going to finish him off. Let's see how many hits it takes, because we're going to do 24 damage. So that's pretty good stuff. That's a pretty epic damage, if I don't say so myself. Pretty epic damage! Yeah! So yeah, guys, that is gonna do it for this mod review. Like always, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to crit that like button, send me some love. You can also share and favorite this video for extra Dextra love, guys. I love it when you love. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter and Google+. And if you're here for mod reviews, why not subscribe? It really does help me out. We'll try and get 50 likes in this episode, and I'll see you all next time.